The rest, we have about 15 countries here. Okay, Nigeria and Ghana.
Yeah.
Nigeria and Ghana.
Yeah.
And we are not against the approval, but the manner of approval. You have staff a team of dedicated professionals working, and then a member of parliament gets up, and I don't want to see it because we are live on we are live. The comments alone that they can put staff off. We don't have any problem. We are humans. When we make a mistake, we can draw our attention to it. And surprisingly, in the Hansard, after the content page, there is a text there that says that if you see any error, grammatical error, bring it to the attention of the editor of the base. Unless it is a matter of substance that you can correct on the floor. For instance, in your debate, if you mention $10 million, and Hansard put 100 million, that is not grammar, that is of substance. But members get up to correct, even they correct titles, whether it's Miss or Mrs. They correct a whole lot of things, including village names of their constituencies, which are not on the map. But we are forced, we take it, as if Hansard, we don't know anything. Certainly we know the major cities, towns in Ghana, but we cannot know the settler communities, those small places that can be spelled anyhow. We cannot have those names. There are instances where we even pass notes to members of parliament to spell the name of the village for us. Some will not respond. Some will respond, and then the same text will come out, and he will correct the one he himself wrote. And because we are back there, we cannot respond. We cannot say anything. But we appreciate we are there because of Parliament. We appreciate the debates. We will continue to do our work, and then we only pray that the feedback that we get from members of Parliament are positive ones, so that we can take them on board and then change our way. As the Deputy Clerk mentioned, as at Friday, 1st August, when Parliament had the last sitting, the 43rd sitting, that same day the Hansard was produced. The Hansard was produced that same day. In addition to all the other 42, not that we skipped to produce it. So as at Friday, 1st August, when the House closed, there was also outstanding Hansard to be produced. We don't have any outstanding Hansard to be produced. And all these two main things, your advocacy and the motivation from the office, my deputy clerk will finish up. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Sorry, you know, this is an unofficial Hansard. And the Hansard, when you are recording it, you have to indicate the name of the person contributing. So I would urge all those who are going to ask a question or who are going to make a comment to kindly indicate their names and then the country they are coming from, so that they will have the record.
Thank you so much. It was very heartwarming listening to the patron saint of Hansard make her remarks, Honorable Zeneta Ajeman. It's very heartwarming to hear a politician very grounded on the challenges and opportunities that exist, and hearing you amplify the work of Hansard was really something very good for us. I'm requesting that hopefully I can have excerpts of this short video that I can also share with colleagues back at home, members of parliament and all, because it would be good for, within Africa and beyond to highlight this important work that we do. Mine is a comment on how we can further amplify the work of Hansard. I know that in some jurisdictions, the recording of plenary is sometimes done in the department of maybe ICT, and then transcription and editing is happening in another department, and then you have the communications department that is mandated with interfacing with the public. So I would like to urge all of us in our various jurisdictions to have a synergy such that, because Hansard in itself cannot communicate direct with the public, you will have to use a channel or a social media platform which probably is in the control of the communications department. So it's important that our relations are very healthy with these departments, such that the work, the very important work done in the Hansard department is amplified by colleagues in the communications department using ICT tools or modern communication software. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, Moses Boalatom, Parliament of Uganda.
Any comment? Okay. I'll invite her. Oh, okay. Sorry, from Nigeria.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. My name is Gobin Adrisu. I'm from the National Assembly of Nigeria. Doctor, thank you for being an advocate for the Hazard Department of the Parliament of Ghana. You're doing a good job. I want to ask, since the hazard of the Parliament of Ghana is being considered on the floor, is it circulated through the hard copies, or you are doing e-circulation to the members? Because Madam is going to work for you, but there should be, the product must be seen on the table of the parliamentarians. And then the point that was made by the speaker in the morning, I really don't know whether doctor can speak to it, or the head of editor debate of the Parliament of Ghana. To the extent that the rules of your parliament gives power to the speaker to, I don't want to use the word moderate, but to do approval as per what should be published. I want to know a little inward into it. Because in our own parliament, the National Assembly of Nigeria, the Senate President and the Speaker of the House does not have such power. But if there is any substantial amendment, they come through a substantive motion on the floor. And if approved by the House, fine. Be it deletion, addition, it has to be debated. But where a speaker will be having power to so do is what I don't understand. Thank you so much.
It's not, no, I think it's the way the speaker said it. Any other would respond to that? Otherwise, I would. Okay.
Very much, Program Director. I would also like to express a word of thanks to the doctor who made the presentation. The presentation is really enlightening in a number of ways. My name is Mteteleli Mangunyana. I come from Eastern Cape Legislature of South Africa. My comment or question relates to the advocacy that the presenter is talking about. In our jurisdictions, we do have branches of CWP. I would like to check whether is there any desk where we can foster this collaboration between our Hansard units. Because as you correctly said, Hansard in most of the time is not given attention it deserves. As also check whether is there any desk at CWP where we can also foster those relationships so that we can popularize or we can make sure that at least Hansard is known by our members and also by the general community. Thank you so much.
I used to work with them, I think. Hello. Okay. Our presenter will answer some.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just have a quick one. I'm Rosemary from Uganda. I have two concerns. The first one is about the practice in Ghana, where you approve the Hansard on the floor. I wonder how you do it when the people concerned, the staff, are not there. I remember we had a scenario some years back. I've worked in the Hansard for more than 20 years, where a member wanted to raise the issue concerning the Hansard on the floor. And the speaker defended us by saying, since the Hansard is not on the floor, they cannot defend themselves. So I advise that can be handled administratively. So if I had powers, I would propose that the head of Hansard is allowed to sit in the chamber to be able, so that one is handled in a very fair way. That is my proposal. The second one concerns the challenges of the Hansard and the social media. I'm professionally a communicator, a student of mass communication. If we're talking about the media, yes, the media can have time to peruse through the Hansard, but the social media belongs to a different class of people. These are people who have an intention. If somebody wants to trade distortion, if however much the information is available, they will not look at it. So the social media, we may not have so much as Hansard, we may not have a solution to them, because those are the Gen Zs in Kenya. We call them the Gen Z in Kenya. Those are a special class. They are looking for your head, however much the information is there, they will get to you. And they will treat the information according to their taste. That is my submission. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I think maybe I'll start with where you ended off. I think that is what exactly I was hoping to put across in terms of how does the Hansard make it accessible so that if you have the information available and now someone chooses to take a clip out of context, you can then take them on. But if you don't have the information out there that's easily accessible, it makes it difficult to then, whether it's legal action, whether it's for somebody to retract what they have put out there. If it's not easy enough for them to have access to the information, it becomes more difficult for you to take them on for why they haven't recorded accurately what you have. And that is exactly the issue, because different jurisdictions have different regulations in place on how people can behave on social media and what they can put out on social media. So if we close the gap in terms of information access, then you can put greater responsibility on people for not putting accurately what is there. The more obscure the information is, the more people can justify putting wrong information out there. And I think that's exactly what I was trying to emphasize on with regards to the easy accessibility, because I know exactly what you're referring to in terms of the, I suppose, social media and online behavior has become a gray area for most jurisdictions. You know, where do you draw the line? And what's legal? Where is it an infringement of somebody else's rights? If we are not able to provide more information, that gray area just becomes too wide, and it becomes more difficult to justify why you can take an action against somebody putting information out of context on social media. So I think that is one of the issues that concerns me about that nexus between the archives, the records, and what is put out there in little bite-sized pieces of information. And then I think with regards to the fact that you don't have a voice on the floor, I think we've had an instance in the Parliament of Ghana at plenary where there was a member of parliament made a comment regarding a member of the parliamentary service staff, and the speaker had to rule in favor of the staff to say that the person can't defend him or herself on the floor, and so it's unfair to actually take that person on. And so that particular person was ruled out of order. And if I'm not mistaken, whatever it was that was said was asked to be removed from the record. So that is one of the things that happens. And I suppose one has to be very careful with such things because it depends on who is presiding over the House. So unless we have clarity in our, for example, in our standing orders that say that we cannot speak to specific issues when the person cannot make a response, then it becomes down to the discretion of who is presiding. And the system hopes, there's always the hope that whoever is presiding will be fair enough to ensure that if there's someone who cannot defend themselves, they have an opportunity to not be taken on in that setting. Sometimes what happens is you may have a member either on the opposite side or maybe even on the same side who may stand up in defense of whoever doesn't have a voice on the floor to say that we cannot continue that debate on the floor because the person can't defend themselves. It has happened in different forms, but I think that when you create a gray area of what you can and cannot do, it then allows for people who don't have a voice to be taken on without having opportunity to defend themselves. And I think it comes down again to awareness creation. The more aware members are of what you do, of your challenges, the less likely they are to take the Hansard department on. Because I remember before I had the opportunity to understand some of the challenges of the Hansard department, I was one of those who just couldn't understand why we had such a backlog. And it was one of my major complaints. I was always complaining. Honestly, I was the chief complainant, I have to be honest, or one of them anyway. But the minute I understood that it was beyond the control of the staff of the Hansard department, that was what pushed me to make that statement, because I realized that there was no point complaining if we weren't going to make sure that we were fixing the problem. You know, and I think one of the issues is once we provide the equipment you need and once you have the motivation, it also encourages you and gives you the right attitude to keep doing your work with excellence. I think with regards to whether the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association has a Hansard department or a desk, I'm not sure whether there is one, but if there isn't, this is absolutely a brilliant idea, because what it does is it creates this network and this almost like an information hub where members can have access to. But I think that even when you have a desk that is for the Hansard department, if you don't have that awareness creation, the desk remains the desk and nothing changes. So you really need to push hard. Let someone, you know, it's an institution with human beings, and staff will have friends amongst members of parliament. And if you have a friendship with a member of parliament, speak to them about it. Maybe they won't make that statement, but they may speak to somebody else who would be willing to make the statement. There is that human aspect of how do we help one another in an institution that's made up of people. And so it's also about building relationships. You know, there is a tendency to just stick with the writing and recording and, you know, all of that work that you do. But I think that if we can build those human relations amongst the various members of parliament, representatives, and yourselves, then you start creating that awareness. But aside from that, I think we really officially need to establish that kind of a situation where members of parliament are made to fully appreciate what you do. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable. Just to add to the issue raised by our colleague from Nigeria, I think what the speaker talked about and the reference to our standing orders had to do with the form in which the Hansard is to be kept. It's not that something that is said, the speaker can afterwards call for a certain portion to be expunged. Even if he has to do that, it has to be on the floor of the House. The corrections are in respect of members raising them on the floor of the House. And if you recall, this morning at the opening session, almost all the leaders, the minority leader, the majority leader, and the speaker made mention of the fact that sometimes our Hansard serve as a record as far as tendering of evidence in court is concerned. So you need to have something that the House, I know it's, as Adam said, it appears it's only in our parliament and the Parliament of Nigeria that the Hansard is corrected on the floor of the House. It has its positives and it has its negatives. Notwithstanding the challenges they have and sometimes the way members come about when they are making the corrections, I think it's a better way of us going. That at the end of the day, the final official document that is coming out is something that is owned by the House. So that you don't have a situation where probably a member can come out and then accuse that this was what I said, but then it was expunged from the record by the editor of debates or anything. But at the end of the day, what is churned out is something that the House can say that this is our document, this is what was said on the floor of the House. And once that is tendered in evidence, it's something that we can all testify to. So it's not something that the speaker can, on his own motion, just direct that something should be expunged. But we have rules of debates, and as our presenter said, you cannot, for instance, malign somebody who is not present on the floor of the House, even if the person is a member. Our rules of debate does not permit that, and therefore, if you say certain things that are disparaging of a member or somebody within the community, the speaker has a right to say that you should withdraw that. If you refuse to withdraw, then the speaker can order that that portion of the information should be expunged from the Hansard. And that will be done on the floor of the House at the clear space of honorable members of parliament. So it's not something that is done outside of the chamber. With regards to CPA matters, I believe CHEA is an organ of the CPA, if I understand the arrangement, because I'm also part of SOCAT, which is an organ in respect of officers of at the table, Society of Clerks at the table. And therefore, if you need something like that, I believe it's something within CHEA who should advocate for us to have it within CWP. Yeah, we have a desk officer, yes. So it's something that we can look at, yes. You mentioned the e-copies and the hard copies. Yes, yeah, we have, initially we're doing hard copies, but currently what we do is that we do soft. But we have a few of them who were born before computer, so they still require the hard copies. So what we do is that we have a 276 member parliament. Currently what we do is that we produce just 50 copies. We send it to them by their official email. We publish it on our website. And if you had the opportunity of seeing what we have in our chamber, we have some our work tables. We have the system unit there, and therefore every morning the Hansard that is to be corrected is normally uploaded on their console. So once you sit in the chamber, you can actually go and review the Hansard before it is adopted. So these are the three ways. We publish it on our website, we publish it, we send soft copies to members, and then we have it on the console. But we have few copies. And when it's adopted, we also have some that we'll send to our library and other places. We only do about 50 copies for the members who specifically demand that they want hard copies. But we don't try to encourage it. We tell them that if you want that, then go and print it using your own resources to print it. But we try to just have a few copies available. Any other? Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir. We are most grateful.
I think we can bring this session to a close. As I indicated, our resource person, these are not normal times for us. At the time she accepted to be a resource person, she had no idea of some of the things that we are seeing and the calamity that befell us since last week. So she's actually trying, and I know very well that some of them, she was very close to some of the members who unfortunately were part of this disaster, but she still found time to be with us. So Honor, we are most grateful. What I'll also add is that she's not only an advocate for Hansard, but matters relating to the environment, which affects all of us. So once again, Honorable, thank you very much. So on that note, Honorable, I want to say a big thank you, and I'm sure anytime we need your services, you will come to assist us. Thank you.
So this brings us to the end of the session. We would kindly clap as we see our chair and presenter off stage. Thank you. Meeting. Yes. So, ladies and gentlemen, our Honorable MP would take leave of us. So, we are grateful once again, Honorable Dr. Zaneto Ajiman Rawlins. Ladies and gentlemen, we have the third session, and this is a delegates meeting, so it will not be streamed live. It's a delegates meeting, so the media is hereby notified. It's a delegates meeting, and we would have the privilege of having